You know. Um. Okay. Another question then. With that being said, how do you navigate, or how do you navigate between traditional values and modern society?
Uh yeah, that's a really good question, man, because in today's modern society, it, there's a lot of people that are ignorant. There's a lot of hate, and in my traditional ways, man, it is about compassion, and it's about the empathy and sympathy of just us as human beings. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if I was to be given a choice of what do I, where would I rather be of modern day uh, feelings in modern day way of thinking versus traditional, I would go traditional all the way
Yeah.
because of that, of those cultural teachings of. Now I can't speak for all the other tribes because you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna find out from other tribes that they don't really share their teachings, like the Southwest people. They don't share that stuff, man. They only keep that within their own, their own clans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the outside world doesn't really know much about those ways, their ways, because some of those clans aren't willing to express, that stuff because they would, to them it's like their treasure. They don't they want to keep it within. I guess
Yeah.
Lakota people are kind of more expressive, and that's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay. That's okay that you want to keep it within your own clan, and that's okay if you want to be expressive.
Yeah.
Like through my people, like the Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota people.
Yeah.
Um, but our traditional way has always been that of compassion, that empathy, sympathy. That feeling of one. Like we speak it, we actually live it.
Yeah.
And in today's society, it's all about hate, hate, hate,
Yeah.
and
Dog
the
eat dog. It's like a dog eat dog world. You know.
it is it is put blame on you. It's to see you different. It's to mark you different. I mean, shit, we're all different. I just don't need that on an everyday basis. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the thing is, you got to be accepting in this world, and not many people are willing to accept the differences.
Yeah.
Because we're programmed now to just to be this, to be that, to like that's the norm of society. Shit, there is no really norm of society. Hell, we're all different. We got to
Yeah.
just be accepting. Like that's okay, man.
Yeah.
Like you want to be in the sector of corporate world,
Yeah.
okay? You're just built different than me. That's
Yeah.
okay. You
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
want to be free loving, you know, like
Hippie.
uh yeah, like a hippie mode, what shit, man. That's good. That works too. And
Yeah.
I'm accepting of that. Like I'm okay with that. But there's many people out there that aren't. Like, I you got people out there that want to be the next Billie Eilish. Okay.
Yeah.
I I don't, nor do my kids, you know? Um, just be you, you
Yeah.
know? And I remember that, like that upbringing of that because my grandfather told me that one time. Because Billy Mills was like one of my idols growing up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he was native, he was a runner, he had this
Yeah.
story. I was like, wow, man, like damn right. And I remember one time my grandfather said, he said, "Be you, be Cody,
Yeah.
not don't be Billy." And I
Yeah.
was like, "What?" He goes, "Because there's only one Billy Mills in this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's only one Cody Hall in this world." So he said, "Go and be that." And I was like, "No," and it wasn't disrespecting Billy Mills and his
No,
accomplishments and his feats,
not at
but
all.
it was about it's okay to have people that you look up to, but you can take their plight and their story and let it inspire you to be better, right?
Yeah.
Just like there's going to be
Understand
people
your
that
own
would,
value, right? Like,
yeah,
understand your own value.
there's going to be people out there that are going to look at you, Soul, and say, you know what? Hey, there's some things that he does in his life that I want to be, that I want to see as well,
Yeah.
and I want to live that. But
Yeah.
they don't want to be you. They want to take that as inspiration so that they're better. Just like whatever happened with me, whatever, they're going to look at it and say, I don't want to be Cody, but there are some things that he said and done that inspired me to be better. So then
Yeah.
they go, you see what I'm saying? Like that's where we're at. That society doesn't have that now, man. You
Yeah.
know, like they have it differently. They want to be famous in a way that gets them notoriety or money or fame,
Yeah.
or I want to be the next presidential candidate, or I want to
Yeah.
be in the next political seat because I think I have the power of this. Like, no, you don't, man.
Yeah.
It's real. There's
It's crabs in a bucket. Everybody's trying to go for the same thing sometimes, you know?
Yeah. And I just don't want no part of that. I just like, hey man, y'all do that. I'm gonna be doing this and we're gonna be other people, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
because the other people make up the bigger world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we have the voice and power to rise above. We don't we shouldn't rely on politicians for that, man. For real.
Yeah. I
It's
know
us.
it's become big government, you know, and it's you know, there's we actually are supposed to be living in a republic where everybody kind of we have these communities that help each other learn and grow, you know, like tribes, you know, and that's what it was supposed to be. And now it's everybody needs to conform to this one way of being because we live in this commerce based country now. It's all commerce based instead of, I don't know, developing as a nation or as a republic. Um, you know, especially with it seems like a lot of your traditional core values, um, man, they're it's almost like what everybody should be. If we all held those values, the world would just be a better place in general, with the empathy and compassion, and be able to share and understand that people, you know, they make mistakes and they make have successes, you know, all those different things that go on. It seems like those values are would be so nurturing to us as a society. And now we live in this society where it's like produce, produce, produce. And if you don't produce in this way or that way, that means that you're not successful. If you don't have this much money or this type of status, then it kind of labels you as a certain type of a human being, you know, like, and I think with schooling, the public schooling, and with the way that things are formatted for us in society, social, I don't know, the way that they constructed our society, it doesn't leave a lot of room for internal growth. And I feel like that's a lot of what you have is internal growth beyond what a lot of people, as they navigate life, you navigate life from the inside out instead of from the outside in. Does that seem to be pretty accurate?
it's about accurate, man, because it's um we have the as we grow up, we I learned from like my mother and I learned from my grandfathers that we're going to encounter people in our lives that give us tools, right? Give us these little gadgets of something inspirational, something great. And whether
Mhm.
it's a word or a sentence or a phrase
Mhm.
or a paragraph or a page or two or shit, the whole book
Yeah.
and many books after or something, we take those and they teach us something. Like it's they're giving us tools to navigate and be more successful in our personal lives, right?
Yeah.
Meaning Meaning, like, and also too, I remember one time it hit me one time with a coach. He said, from Fargo, and I remember he said, "Hey, Cody," and when he was like my coach, I always called him coach even after Agassi. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Yeah.
was my coach at Oak Grove. He knew I went to Oak Grove. He was my
Yeah.
coach when I went to Wapton and when I went to college. And the biggest thing of that was I I I loved him dearly because he was like a father figure, but he also taught me about life in general to look outside of sports, right? I was like,
Yeah.
damn, okay, all right. And then I remember one time he said, "You're going to do a lot in this world. And when you have the chance and opportunity within yourself to look, you're going to give back to your community. You're going to give back to a lot of people." And
Yeah.
then he said, and I don't know when that day will come, but he said, it will happen. So be aware and be ready. And then he passed on and stuff. But that always stuck with me because that was like one of his last things. He saw something. And I was like, whether you call it a prophet, vision, or whatever, I just thought that was huge. And so when I did start giving back to my community, giving back to my people, and giving back to just really the general population, what you speak of that compassion and that we should all, it'd be better if we all lived that. I try to do that all the time, man. And
Yeah.
I get talked down. I get people that even my own indigenous community that still talk shit on me. It's not because like the way I feel like I'm not in a war with other people, you know what I'm saying? Like I just want people to be better and I try to do it in a way of and saying it in a way of inspiration
Yeah.
and
And
love.
you live it from example, right?
Yeah, like I'll tell you real quick. I have a youth lacrosse program.
Yeah.
Lacrosse was started by us as indigenous people. It was our sport, right? It was our thing.
Uh,
And one of the things that I found as a segue to young native youth is one of the first things I tell them is own it. This is yours. As much as it is mine and anybody around us.
yeah.
It is ours. But you're young, you you have you have more run of a life to accept this, to grasp it and cultivate it and
Yeah.
let it grow within you, right? Like when you accept this sport will do great things for you.
Yeah.
It'll open up doors for you.
Yeah.
And not only will it, but it also connects you culturally because our people played this. It
Yeah.
was started from us. It was here's the meaning of it, right?
Yeah.
And
Tradition, right?
yeah, and I want those youth to get that because that they get to write their own history. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they get to write their own chapters.
Yeah.
How great! You can't do that with any other sport
Yeah. Yeah.
because there's no culture behind it.
There's no.
Football, there's literally no culture to a people behind it.
Yeah.
Basketball, there's no culture to a people connected to that. It's just
Yeah.
you go back and say, oh, such and such started the sport. Okay, but he or she, they didn't have culture behind it, meaning there was no significance. Like the
Yeah.
sport of lacrosse was connected to us because it was given to us by the creator.
Yeah.
We played it for as medicine. We played it for healing. We knew of a way we were connected to the creator. We said, all right, I'm going to give of myself, literally, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to sacrifice my going out here and playing hard because I'm praying for my nephew who has an illness, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah.
We need to get back to that because it grounds us back to the roots. And
Yeah.
that's all it is. Basketball, there was nothing of that. When Naismith invented basketball, he wasn't going around saying, "Hey, here's the ball and here's this basket, this apple basket that you just take the bottom out and you just put the ball through it." You
Yeah.
just shoot. There was no connection of culture behind it. There was no meaning of play
Meaning,
this
yeah.
sport, for your people or for a reason or a cause spiritually.
Yeah.
Lacrosse is that. You know what I'm saying? So that's all out. So that's an example where I'm just trying to enlighten these kids to say, grasp it, hold it, because spiritually you're connected to it.
Yeah.
Now let me help you as an adult keep that, keep
Yeah.
that vision, you know, like,
Yeah.
and you'll grow from that. You'll be better. And that's all it is. It's not trying to be better than any community or whatever. It's just, and yet we have people that make that division to conquer. I'm not out there to conquer anything of my people
Yeah.
for real. And that's what sucks within my community of indigenous people is that they want to conquer other indigenous people.
Yeah.
So you know what I say and do? I'm like, look, if we're of that mind, then I want to go out there and conquer society, which is fucked
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
go out there and speak that word. All right. You want to see conquer? I'm gonna show you what conquer is. I want
Yeah.
to go out there. You rich people that live in these rich, societies, right?
Yeah.
That are on native lands, and you know that, then guess what? I'm coming after your goddamn home.
Yeah.
That's my
That's
conquer.
conquering instead of, yeah.
That's my conquer. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to conquer my own damn people. I'm not trying to conquer another tribe. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not trying to conquer anybody of indigenous background. I am trying to conquer what was taken from us from the get-go.
Yeah, the
If you want
colonization, right?
that's that's what I tell people. I'm like, you really want to get under my skin, right? Okay, well then here's what it's gonna do. I'm gonna go out there and conquer those.
Yeah.
You're not gonna piss me off to look at and bring down my own people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. As we build in our business, there's one thing that we found that everybody needs, and that is capital. And in order to get capital, we have to understand our own financial literacy. So Maeve and I have joined this group in this company that will help you understand your financial literacy, be able to give you some different ways where you could gain capital. And if you're interested in that, and whether it's for business or for personal, you're trying to build your life and you need finances to do so, be sure to hit me up at 612-750-3948 and text finances. 612-750-3948 and text finances.
Like you are of the mind of that, not me,
Divide.
because
That's the divide and conquer tactic.
that is
Have
within
that
that.
infighting within each other, and then you can't get together. And just even as a whole, I feel like in American society is everybody's pointing at each other's differences, and then we have this huge governmental body or these people that are capitalizing, because we're a capitalistic society, on that division. You know what I mean? And they're over here living this type of life while we're sitting here fighting for the crumbs amongst each other and pointing out all the hatred and division and the fighting and the within each other. But if we all got together, we could just rewrite the whole system. But until we quit fighting within each other, it's never going to happen that way. It's never going to happen until we have unity. Like you said, we need unity, and unity in the community, you know.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough to have that for real.
100%, because there's a lot of trauma behind it, right? It's a lot of
Real.
trauma. And I wanted to bring it to maybe some contemporary issues, if you didn't mind.
Yeah, go
Um,
ahead.
all right. How does your background inform your view on the whole uh, that number 19 thing we went through in late 2019 and on I'm not able to really say exactly what it is, but all the things that happened that transpired during that period of time.
When we speak of that time of that pandemic, it man, it really, I hate to say it too. I mean, well, not really hate to say it, but just being real, man, it really fucked us.
Yeah.
It put us in a mode of fear.
Yeah.
We should never shelter ourselves from fear. Meaning, we were listening to mainstream about isms, the negatives of something that we got to shut down. And I'm not against scientists. I'm not getting any of that stuff. I mean, just own up to you fucking did wrong,
Yeah.
right? Um, but also what I took from that, and even in that moment, was all right. I was looking around like in the neighborhood. I was like, man, we are all in fear. Like,
Yeah.
and then hearing that if you go outside, you're gonna get this. Like it was like Walking Dead material, right? You know what I'm saying?
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Like we
Empty
walk out, you're
street.
like, oh, like you're breathing, you're getting it, and you're like, oh God,
Yeah.
it screwed me up. I'm infected now.
The
And it was like,
hysteria was crazy. Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, what? And then all this like stay in shelters, stay amongst yourselves, and I was like, yeah, but there's some of us, and probably a good majority of us, that aren't about stay in,
Yeah.
because our society's changed, right?
Yeah.
Like look at for example, like people will see us, like you said it early on in the segment, that you're like, wow, there's going to be some people that aren't going to agree with me on this. That's society.
Yeah.
We're going to have people that agree and disagree. There's going to be people that are going to agree and disagree with what I'm going to say, but it's real if you put it in a real trajectory, right? There are
Yeah.
people out there that start their day going to Starbucks. They don't
Yeah.
want to start their day at going to Caribou or your local other coffee station. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there are people that go to Starbucks, get
Faith.
their coffee. That's their
Yeah.
first and foremost thing.
Yeah.
But then if you speak against them, they're going to be like against you. How dare you? Blah. But you know what? We are set in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
how many of those people that went to Starbucks every day that didn't get an opportunity to start their day lost their friggin' minds? You know that they did, because they were all, oh my God,
Yeah.
like I'm really messed up now because I can't start my day with Starbucks. I gotta,
Starbucks. Yeah.
like for real. And it was
Yeah.
like we aren't seeing it for that,
Yeah.
and we're not being real. And I was being real at that time, right? With my family. And it got to the point where I was like, listen, I'm about getting out. And okay, I'm not trying to get out to drive around because I didn't know how cops were, right? I was like,
Yeah.
shit.
Yep.
I was like, man, I'm a person of color, so right away they would probably, like I was already thinking in my head, like
Yeah.
they're gonna stop me, they're gonna pull my ass over,
Martial law and all that, right?
some shit, right? So I was just
Yeah.
like, all right, and I'm a runner, right? I like to
Yeah.
run as an activity. I like to get out and just get a good sweat. So I said, I'm gonna go run, and I went running one time. And I remember I came up to a stoplight. I had my headphones in and listening to music, and this gal was trying to talk to me. And I looked at her like, "What?" And pull out a plug, and I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Are you nuts?" And I was like, "Nuts for what?" And she's like, "You shouldn't be out here." And I said, I was looking around, and I was like, "Well," I said, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Don't you know you can catch it from being out here?" And I looked around. I was the only person on the sidewalk at that. There was nobody anywhere else. She was the only one driving that you could see. And I
Yeah.
remember looking at her and I said, catch what? From who? I said, you and me are the only ones out here. You're in a vehicle and I'm running. I said, I'm
Yeah.
just running.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, there's nothing wrong with that. And she
Yeah.
was like, you're just crazy for being out here. And I was like, all right, then I'm crazy. And I put my
Yeah.
headset back on. I just, went back out. And I was like, but we lived in that fear, you know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't gonna have that shelter me in place because I'm not of shelter in place when no I felt like physically it wasn't like Red Dawn, the movie, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Red Dawn. I remember. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? It wasn't like we had, the Russian Empire come on us out of the
Coming down on
sky
us. Yeah,
and just be like, we're gonna take over America. I was like, physically, I am not um threatened.
yeah.
Like I'm being threatened by
Me-
words through the
The
media.
media. Yeah,
And I was like, okay, but I'm not ignorant to know that yes, that truly does exist out there. Something happened, yes, but why do I have to live in fear?
yeah, yeah.
And then
Yeah, and
also,
I agree with you on that too. Is why do I have to live in fear? And then the whole what I didn't agree with is like the mandating and the shaming if you didn't do exactly what people were saying. And I have my own beliefs about stuff, about the regenerativeness of my body. Why do I have to do what you're telling me to do? It's my body, you know what I mean? And then even amongst friends and family, they're looking at you like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I'm like, I just believe what I believe. Why can't I believe what I believe? Why are you trying to force me and shame me to do what you think it is? And so in the end, none of us in my household got poked, right? But everybody was looking at us like we were the problem. And I'm like, how is that even possible? Like that we're the problem. And in the end, it was just amazing to see how it was almost like apartheid in South Africa. If you didn't have your card saying that you went and did this, then that means there's something wrong with you. You know what I mean? That means you need to be locked up, you need to be put away, and you're the cause of everything that's going wrong in society today. And I feel like that was just a huge reversal in our evolution as a society, to be honest with you.
like for me, and I'm real because I saw both lines, you know what I'm saying? Like both
Yeah,
sides. And I admit I got my shots,
yeah, yeah,
but then after I got my shots, I was always asking, like, hey, what part of this shot? Because you know that there's a positive and a negative, right? Like
hmm,
when we get the flu shot, we're
hmm,
literally getting the flu pumped into us.
yeah, yeah.
So our antibodies in our body hurry up and get a feel of what that's like, you know what I'm saying? So that way, and then it's in our system. So that way, when it does happen to us, if we get the cold or the flu, like our
It knows
antibodies
what
are
to do.
already ready to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, if we're getting the shot, then are you injecting me with something that is really unfamiliar with my body? And
Hmm.
I asked that because am I building my body to get ready for the shit show?
Hmm.
Like what's that? Like are you preparing us for the ultimate worst and demise?
Yeah.
Or are you just injecting us with something that I don't know what is experimental?
Yeah.
Because native people were used as experimental projects back in the day.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of people don't know that. And it's not conspiracy, none of that. It literally was that. We were such a strange anomaly to the scientific community
Yeah.
that they poked and prodded us,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
that's what it felt like at that time. Cause I was just like, wait. Is this? And I was trying to tell people, wake up to this because are we
Yeah.
being poked and prod because of something? And I would use those examples because native people, we were such strangeness to science that they would take our blood. They would, like I said, do experiments on us because I mean, like that mentality of kill the savage, right? I
Yeah.
was like, why are you doing experiments on us? And that literally was documented. So it was like, okay, right? It's about being real, but then be
Yeah.
real with that. Like know that history as well. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. And what's interesting when you say that is because during that period of time, and people were like, why aren't you? I was like, look, man, I'm not going to take that stuff just because the government is telling me to. and these people are saying to do stuff, and they're like, why would the government ever do anything bad to us? I was like, man, who gave the natives blankets? What was in there? They were like, oh, here, stay warm, and it wiped out so many of them. So, and you're trying to tell me that this same body of people I'm supposed to just trust with my life, like, just because they say it's okay, that means that it is? A lot of people get wiped out that way. And so
No,
then
see, like I fell for that, but I fell for it in a way of protect your family.
yeah.
And I did it because I wanted to protect my family.
Yeah,
But then I
100%,
also had
yeah.
questions of, okay, if I'm being told to protect my family, then how and
Yeah,
why, right? Why is that?
Yeah, that's what
And I was
they did to
asking those,
everybody.
I was
Yeah.
asking those questions, and I was like, okay, because I
Yeah.
wasn't trusting it for my kids. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
my kids didn't get the shot,
Yeah.
but I did.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let me, if that's what it is, let me be the safeguarder for my family. Okay. But then also, I didn't want to rely on that, man. And
Yeah.
I also relied on our holistic medicines
Yeah,
as
that's
as
what I'm
indigenous
talking
people.
about. Yeah.
And the thing was, when I was talking to a medicine man, he gave me like these medicines and said, if you gather these medicines and then put them all together, it's like this big immune booster and preventer uh, uh, of diseases, or or airborne and whatever we may come in contact with, right?
Yeah.
Like he said, gather these medicines and then mix them all together. You can make a tea out of it, and then just take that tea, just drink it every day,
Yeah.
and it'll build your immune system. It'll make you stronger from the inside out.
Yeah.
And I was like, really?
That's amazing.
And
Yeah.
I got to trust the medicine man, because they
Yeah.
know this already, right? They're given
Yeah.
these knowledges, like recipes and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I did, and I found those medicines, and I cultivated that, and and I made a big batch, and I gave it to him. I mailed it up to him, and he was happy, because some of those medicines you can't find in South Dakota.
Can't find.
You
That's
know,
amazing. Yeah, that's
so
amazing.
what I did is I made that, and I had my family take that.
Yeah.
I would make that tea in the morning and at night, and we'd drink it. And it was also that knowledge and knowing that, okay, you're protected. I would tell that to my kids, and I would say, I protect you physically, right?
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm your safeguard,
Yeah.
but I'm also holistically, with our medicines. This will help you as well.
Yeah.
That knowledge base. And so I was like, what better way? Because I said, there's kids out there right now that probably don't even have that.
Yeah,
They
they
probably
don't.
feel like their parents aren't safeguarding them physically, from
Yeah.
taking, from getting anything. And so anyway, that's what it was of that time,
Yeah.
of that era. It was just like,
It was
I
interesting, huh?
it, people should have taken note
Yeah.
of preparedness, meaning, are you ready for the next whatever?
Whatever's
And
gonna
I don't
happen.
think we are. I don't
Yeah.
think we are. And there's some of us that are. I'm
Yeah.
always like leery. I'm always thinking, like, we grow our own food, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like we are in preparedness. Like, I have in place, like water, uh runoffs and stuff. So we have our own natural water,
Yeah.
uh our wood, for fire, stuff like that. Like I'm not just doing it for doomsday preparations. Like, I'm just like, I'm ready. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I build up. Like, I live both in that world, both worlds. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
holistic world and in modern day world. Like, I'm
Yeah.
I'm real with you, man. I'm
Yeah.
shit. I need my energy drink. I'm real, like, but I also know that there's other holistic medicines.
Yeah.
Like, there should be more people that way, instead of just,
Yeah.
badgering those that, oh, you drink, an energy drink. How dare you? You need to do this. You need to drink this, like this good and
Shaming.
all this.
Either way it goes, shaming either way. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It's still shame.
I'm just like, I'm real. Like,
Yeah.
I can live in both, and sometimes, and I'm real, and I cannot live away from this or that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
I need both. And I'm
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
and that's what my wife Maeve, she came up with the name This Modern Mystic. And that's what we do is we teach, modern science and how modern science and ancient wisdom melt together, right? And how science is catching up to ancient wisdom, and they're able to explain like how all these different things work from ancient teachings, from the aura and how the aura works and how it can read your environment and these fields that we all have, these all fields, and that's how you're intuitive enough to feel something coming that hasn't got to you yet, because we are all connected. It's all one. There's nothing outside of this unity that we are. And I think that a lot of times people, they forget about that we are all one. And
Like for real.
and just to touch back on that whole other thing, that whole pandemic thing, during that period of time, my wife Maeve, she knows some people that they worked with indigenous people in the community with different programs for the government for housing and stuff like that. And they had this super huge push where it was like mandatory in order for you to get help, that you had to do these things. You had to do these things that even if you didn't want to, if you were going to continue to get help, you had to do these things. And that's the line I think that was blurred, where it's like, what if you culturally or religiously don't believe in something, but you're going to take stuff away from me because I don't want to do that thing? And that goes from the Constitution. It's unconstitutional because we have the constitutional right of freedom of religion. You know what I mean? It's like freedom, whatever I believe, I have a constitutional right to be able to practice that. And
Yeah.
I feel like they were, that's the only thing, and safety or not, whatever it is, when Martin Dr. King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing that I had an issue with, is I don't care that you went and did what you did, but allow me to go do what I do. You know what I mean? I don't mean any harm, you don't mean any harm. And when people start forcing people to be a certain way, that's when we have to really question, what is the real motive of what's going on? Is it really for the health of everybody, or is it fear, or is it really a psyop? That's what I thought. It's a psyop, to try to see how far people can be pushed to do things that they don't really want to do against their own moral standings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And and that's why I said there's two sides of that aisle.
Yeah,
And I think it's okay for us to take a left foot in one, right foot in the other,
yeah, and see what's
just go back and forth, go back and forth.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that because, you know, look at all the stuff that people were told, you know, to walk a straight line and don't go left or right. Just walk. I mean, like it's already been done. Some of that stuff was a real tragedy, man. Like,
Yeah,
just but it is, man. It just
it is what it is, right?
you gotta stand up is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
stand up. And there's nothing wrong with it. If
yeah.
you're not trying to be right or wrong, I sure as hell am not trying to be.
I'm not
But it
trying
was
to. Yeah,
it was just like all right, I hear it. I feel like you want to fear monger me. Why?
yeah, yeah. Why?
That's all I
Why?
was asking. I was like, why? What are we doing that is so bad?
Yeah,
You know,
a hundred
like
percent.
shit. We all are. We all do good and bad. You, me, shoot. People
Yeah,
that we're gonna meet later today,
yeah,
wherever we
yeah,
cross paths with, shoot, it's the same way. It's
yeah. What moving to a different subject with a new administration on, and there's they're talking about that birthright citizenship. Do you know what that about
yeah.
that? And so what's your perspective on the birthright citizenship? Because I heard that he wasn't going to allow natives to automatically be citizens.
Like one of the things because I've had a lot of friends kind of reach out, through social media and ask me what's right, what's wrong, and I'm like, one, don't feed into it, acknowledge it, but don't feed into it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I said, and stand your ground
yeah,
because one, as indigenous people, And we all know it, but a lot of white culture doesn't want to admit they're wrong.
Hey, what's going on? We're going to get back to the interview right after this. If you like what you're hearing and you like the interview that's going on and you want to learn more about us, go ahead and go to thismodernmessage.com where you can get access to courses, merchandise, and live events that we'll be at. Thismodernmessage.com. We'll see you there.
In
Yeah.
America. And
Yeah.
their first wrong was acknowledging the fact that there was already a group of people that already lived here.
Yeah.
Us, right? Indigenous people. They want to paint a picture of this, especially like in Catholics, right? Catholicism worlds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the doctrine of discovery, when Columbus so-called discovered this new America, right? This new
Mm-hmm.
land,
Mm-hmm.
that they said, make sure you take the doctrine of discovery with you, right? That knowledge, that basis. So when you land on that land, you are the first of our kind there.
Yeah.
Well, shit, guess what? We were already here. We've lived here hundreds,
Yeah.
thousands of years before your ass showed up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, like if I were to go back on that and be, of that time, I would say, okay, you guys just invented a bigger ship. We already had canoes, but you
Yeah.
were willing to cross an area that we didn't know about. Nor did
Yeah.
we even. I think my people were like, no, we're cool being here.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
no reason to try to figure out what the hell's way over on that
Yeah.
ocean and where that takes us.
Yeah.
Like they did, okay, but to say you come to a different land and now call it your own and you
Yeah.
founded it,
Yeah.
like you had to be that goddamn stupid, and then
Yeah.
especially find a group of people that already lived and existed on it. Like that right there should tell you, holy shit, there's already a group of people here. How long have they
Yeah.
been here? Right? But no, they had to do the doctrine of discovery and then claim it as their own. But then as life went on, as centuries built up, people go back on historical context and then now are saying it's this, it's that, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
history says this. Okay, well it does, but also don't ever underestimate that the fact that we were already here. So our citizenship to this land was already here before a constitution was written.
Before the Constitution. Yep.
We
Before.
were all of that. So one, our
Yeah.
birthright has always been here. So
Yeah.
okay, this new administration, you want to fight that? I'm going to tell you, we were already here. I don't need paperwork, right, that says that
Yeah.
because no duh, we were here. Where did you come from? Where was your family lineage? And then you can trace that back. And when they do, it's all the way Europe. It's all it's other areas. So it's like okay, but I can tell you where my birthright was. Your birthright was from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So if you want to go back to the since day one, well then I
Yeah.
think I win and you lose. It's
Yeah.
plain simple. And I get
Place.
it. Some people are about winning and losing, but I give it to you in that context that you won and lost, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That I won and lost. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So I told friends, one, don't feed into it. Know
Yeah.
where you come from and know you're right. One,
Yeah.
and then also, with this administration, it we should be prepared. Meaning, know your facts,
Yeah.
right? This Heritage Foundation that wrote Project 2025 that's in there. It's about ending, birthright citizenship. That's in that Project 2025.
Yeah.
Also within indigenous communities, they want to get rid of sovereignty. Now, indigenous people, we are sovereign culturally, meaning we should be recognized as a nation within a nation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Trump's people don't want to admit that. They
Mm.
believe that the United States of America is that, right? When you look at the map, it is all that. There
Mm-hmm.
is no other border lines within the United States.
Mm-hmm.
because reservations are borderlines within the United States.
Yeah.
That means that you have to have a means and right to come onto our lands,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Just like a
And
different country.
yeah, like if you're a cop, you have to, and you're in your uniform, you have to have major reasoning why you are coming onto our lands.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your business? Now, as an individual, plain clothes and not doing business work, okay, yeah, you can come check it out, do all that. But if you have business of your attire, then what's your business here?
Yeah.
Right? So you have to cross a borderline. His people don't like the fact that there's already a border within the big ass border of the United States. So they want to do without all that. They want to take away sovereignty. They want to
Mm-hmm.
take away your sovereign right to a land that you call home.
Mm.
Um, and then in that Project 2025, they also state the the taking of reservation land and giving it back to the state, whatever state it is. You
Mm.
know, like I'm from South Dakota, so they want to take those lands and then give it to the state of South Dakota and then say, okay, guess what? There's no more borders anymore, man. Those
Mm.
reservations don't exist anymore.
Mm.
Those indigenous people are now just regular people.
What's
Like,
that
why you
called?
try?
Project 2025? I'm
Yeah,
gonna read up on that because I don't did. I don't watch the
and
news too much.
that's why that's why when that citizenship came out, it was also a part of that because there's underlinings for Asian people, black people, Hispanic people, and Native people.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, man, why you putting all people, people of race and color up in that thing? But then they want to, like, in essence, it's modern day, like what the Nazis did to the Jews.
Mm.
Only recognize a superior race
Mm.
and then do without the other races. And then
Yeah.
do, like take away their withholdings, you
Yeah.
know? So that's why people and I was trying to like tell people this early on, like or during, when they were running for as they were presidential candidates, I said the people that if you look back at the Heritage Foundation, right, the people that wrote Project 2025, some those writers of that project sat on Trump's administration when he was first president years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it was brought up in the media, they said, "Hey, the people that wrote that project sat on your administration." And he said, "No, I don't know any of those people." Bullshit, because you appointed them certain seats. If
Mm-hmm.
you appoint people, you know who they are.
Yeah.
You've had to read their file. You had that was coming from you, right?
Mm.
Like if I appoint somebody, right? No duh, that says Cody read up on that person
Yeah. Yeah.
and appointed that person into that position, right?
Mm.
Saul did same thing.
Yeah.
Saul read up on that person and appointed that person into that position.
Yeah.
And then for him to blatantly say, I don't know who those people are. In fact, I never met them before.
Yeah.
Bullshit, because you appointed them in, political seats. So no duh,
Yeah.
that's from you. So just be real. That's all it is. Again, be real. That's
You know, what I was thinking because in the black community it's like the same thing where people are looking for to get what is that called? I forgot what it's called. Money for being slaves and whatever. I don't know why I forgot what it's called. Reparations, right? All right, so right now we live in a day and time where like what I don't think people understand, and it's something that I've been studying, but the mainstream people don't understand, is we live in this we don't live in a United States like we think we do, you know, where the United States of America was founded and it was supposed to be where everybody could create their own life, but then we have what's called the United States, which is like the LLC, right? and it's all about commerce. It's all about making money, right? And that's what they're doing. What I feel is they're making a play on how can we make it more business. Just like you said, you have to come on my land. What business do you have here? If you want to come as a human being, that's cool, but if you come to do business, that's a whole different thing. And that's what people don't realize when it comes to capitalism. Taxes is all about business. They tax you on everything. You get paid, you get taxed. You go buy something from the store, they tax your ass at the store. You get licenses, all that stuff. It's all tax in order to feed this big governmental body, right? So then, so this is a movement that's happening, and really in the end, it's like, how do we as a people get together? Because it is supposed to be we the people. How do we educate our people? How do we educate our people in the ways of how these people think, so that we can have a footing in where we belong? Does that make sense? Because right now they got all the money, all the power, and all the knowledge of the way that they're operating things. But because we don't understand how they're operating, we're getting steamrolled. And so to me, we have to go back to, like your parents said, education is important. But only in a way to be able to navigate this life, or sit separate from this, what's being done right now, right? Does that make
See, the
sense?
thing is, one of the big keys of this, you're getting on that, was asking how to, how to go forth from this, is one, seek out, meaning seek out that information, seek out that knowledge. Two,
Yeah,
stand up. Okay, stand up, and then on top of that, stand up and speak out so that other people are informed. And then within that formation, some people and some groups and masses have to realize that there's got to be people that go out there and inform others, meaning
yeah,
you got to put yourself out on the line, man.
yeah. You do.
And not many people are willing to put themselves out on the line. Like
No.
we can talk about it. You and I can talk about it so damn much on this podcast over and over again,
Yeah,
but we need to be out there
yeah,
speaking it, standing up against it. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
then when that is projected that way, people are going to be like, "Oh, hey, Saul, do it, man. I'll stand behind you, man. Go ahead. I'll stand behind you." There's not many people that are willing to do that, and
yeah,
that is where we come to heads, right? With
yeah,
with with the thought and that projection of something great,
yeah,
to, oh, we're gonna meet it head on. Oh shit, like, but we need people to speak on it, right? And then,
yeah,
but when you're that type of person or that type of group, you're gonna be targeted. And
yeah.
that target is open from a wide range, whether it's government or even
Yeah.
small groups, and
Or
that's
people in
where,
your own community, or
or
people in
people in
your
your
own
own community.
community that are benefiting from the way it is anyway. Why are you trying to ruffle things up? You know?
And that's tough, and that is really tough because
Yeah,
you can only, and I've already been there, done that, man.
yeah,
Like I felt like during the No Dapper movement, in the end, I was like a scapegoat, for the way that the government entities were seeing the movement.
yeah.
Like, oh well, we gotta, because that there's always got to be a shift of blame.
Of course,
Meaning,
100%.
meaning, if there's resistance, there's always got to be a blame for that resistance.
Yes.
Why can't it just be natural? Why can't it just be, hey, there's resistance. Hey, we got to speak out. Like, it's got to come from us. We're the agitators, meaning at that time of No Dapple, Energy Transfer Partners should have said, hey, we are the agitators. So let us speak of, okay, let's be real. We are doing some stuff wrong.
Yeah.
but we're trying to do right. If they would have said shit like that, it would have been a whole different.
Conversation.
Exactly. But when it became this, we're right, you're wrong. Well, who the hell said that?
Yeah.
That's not being real. You're not real with me, man.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, like in this day and age, you just got to get a group of people that are saying like, hey, let's do this, let's be that, let's speak about this. But you got to be willing to take that head on. You got to be willing to get that shit thrown at you, and
Yeah.
not many people are, man, and that's tough.
It is.
And it's just and I look at it now and I think, hey, um like my indigenous people, I just say, you know what, we got to have our backs, man, for real.
Yeah.
Because I know right now we should have other people's backs, but we got to have our backs, because in the black community, they're going to have their own backs,
Yeah.
right? We got Hispanic people, they're enduring it right now.
Yeah.
They have to have their own backs. And it's just, and we got to see how that plays out. We got to see, like,
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but the Hispanic people were the first people under this new administration to get thrown, to get thrown in the muck. So what
Yeah.
are they doing? Like, and I already know for a fact that there are some like Hispanic people that are disliking the Hispanic people from Mexico. And I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
like you all don't see each other in the same bowl, but now
Yeah.
you're willing to throw these people to the wolves, your own
Divide.
people. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah.
Like I
Divide.
see you all as Hispanic people. They're like, no, that person's from Mexico, man. They're not like me, man. I'm like, what? Like shit for real? Wow.
It's there. It's
So
that. It's that fear, like you said. You go from fear. Go from
like
fear.
it's like they want to blend in white because it's right, like I ain't going out like that, man. Like, no,
Yeah,
like,
because it'll be all right. That's why. Right? Because they'll be all right.
I hate to say it like that because some people would be like, well, shit, Cody, you're racist or you're whatever. I'm not racist. I'm not colorless. I'm nothing. I'm just saying
Yeah. You
that's
just see.
what
You just
that's
call it
what's
when you
real,
see it. Yeah.
right?
Just call it.
That's what's being thrown to us, man. It's our movie. We're being shown different forms of a movie out there. The documentary. Like we're not
Man,
waiting for it to come out on Netflix or HBO or whatever. Like
it's happening
it,
right now. It's
for
live.
real right now. Like, yeah.